Okay, welcome to Carol's Journey TV. Today we have two special guests. One of the guests is Miss Vicky Owens, who works for Congressman Andy King, who's going to bring us information on the seniors locally. And the next guest is Luciel Boles-Wilson, who's going to bring me information about seniors on the state levels and everything. I want to welcome both of you women to my show, and this is a kind of like a little experiment in a way because we're trying this for the first time. Okay, Miss Vicky Owens.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm here.
Yes. One of the things I'd like to know is give us some local information, some of the information that Andy King is giving out to the district, and especially those information that deals with the seniors.
Okay. Councilman Andy King is going to have Fun Under the Sun like he usually have every year. That's one of the things. It's going to be the 1st of August. And everyone is looking forward to that because we have a good time. And there's also going to be food giveaway and all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things. And my job, since I'm not at the office, is to make sure that the seniors are getting their food. I call each and every day, make phone orders for them through the city, through the centers, and whatever that is necessary to see that they get the food that they need. Because as you know, some of them cannot go to the pantry. Some of them, cannot travel. Right. And they was told that they should stay inside, because of this virus.
Okay.
And he has been distributing food in certain areas in the district. Mm-hmm. So have I and my partner, Elijah. We go to the churches. We go to some of the seniors who cannot get out. We go knock on their door, call them up, and if we have food, we give it to them. This is what we're doing.
Right. Okay. Now, Luciel, give us an update on what's happening, particularly in Albany, since I heard you had some kind of contacts there.
Okay, well, I belong to an organization called Asala. And Miss Bessie Jackson, who's the head of the New York State Division, she had a petition about 2017 because although Juneteenth freed the slaves a long time ago in 1827, some of the slaves that went through the Underground Railroad and went to New York State, they weren't free, okay? So what we were trying to do was to make a state holiday. We're going to celebrate this day the second Monday in July. Well, next week is the second Monday in July. This bill passed the Senate, it passed the House of Representatives, and it was supposed to be signed by Governor Andrew Cuomo. However, because Black Lives Matter and all of the killings that was going on and all of the new things that they had to do with the police department and everything, I feel that the governor had his hands so tied. He didn't forget, because I've been on Facebook Live trying to remind people to contact him and to contact Sophie, who works for him. Unfortunately, he has not signed this bill yet. So it's my job every day to go on Facebook Live, to go on Zoom, and then I'm going to go on, they're going to train me to go on Zoom with Bronx Neck, and I'm going to make it official. Every day I'm going to go on the air until this bill is passed. Now, other things that's going on with the city of New York, Mayor de Blasio because seniors, we're not at our senior centers and it's so hot. He has given away free air conditioners to seniors. I have my air conditioner already installed. And in conjunction with that, he's given G pads to seniors so we can communicate virtually. And that's what I'm communicating on you right now. I have a G pad that I got free, FREE. I received it on Thursday through UPS, and I spoke to Virginia Saunders from the Wakefield Taxpayer Organization, and she received hers also. So any member that belongs to a range center or any senior center in the city of New York will be receiving a G-pad.
Oh, very good. That is very good. That's excellent and everything.
Oh, I'm
Um,
sorry. One other thing I forgot to tell you. I received notification from the Department of the Aging that they're doing the farmers market coupons. It's in my phone. They sent me a link. I filled out the application online. I will forward this information to you, Carolyn. I will also give it to Vicky so that her seniors and all the seniors in the Boogie Down Bronx could go online and fill out the application. And in the mail, they'll receive their $20 farmers market coupons.
very nice. That's very good. Very good. Okay, that's very nice to hear and everything. One thing I just want to mention, you mentioned about the law being passed to try to get July, I believe it was
13.
July 1st.
No, it's always going to be the second Monday in July.
Oh, the
This
second
year,
Monday in July. Okay,
every right as a state holiday.
right. Well, listen, I would just want to mention something very briefly. My family is a historic family. My family came up through the Underground Railroad with Harriet Tubman, and but the thing about it is, they didn't stop in New York State. They went all the way into Canada. So I have a historic family that embraced Harriet Tubman, and so we have a lot of uh, art supplies, a lot of work. We have a lot of things going on in Canada. Okay, so we're part of the slaves that ran away and crossed over into the border. Okay, that's one of the things that I just wanted to mention to you and everything.
Okay.
Now, one of the things I'm interested in hearing, getting an idea about how you feel about the protests and stuff. Vicky, Vicky,
Yes, I'm here.
yeah, no, I want to hear what you're
Can
feeling
you hear me?
protests, the protests that are going on here in New
Can
York.
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Ask again.
Yeah. How do you feel about the protests that's going on here in New York State?
Well, I think that they need to explain to the young people what actually is going on. Now, now with them doing all the protests, it's people who need the police officers now are not getting them. They are not answering calls. The thing is, it need to be explained to them because all policemen are not bad. You got good policemen and then you got bad. Okay, the ones that has a problem with the job need to be tested. Like you say, some type of physical test every 2 months because they go through stress too. Okay, and the thing is because even our mayor, Mayor de Blasio, if someone breaks into Gracie Mansion, he's not going to call the lifeguards. He's going to call the police. So the police, everybody need the police, you know? So let's face that fact, because we do need our officers. And so I feel that when they're doing a protest, they should do it in a mannerly way, not to tear up the business because business costs money. The owners work very hard for their business. And I think they should take all of that in consideration by tearing down, burning up, using weapons. That is not going to bring the situation to what it's supposed to be.
Mhm.
And I think we should have more education to the young people about the protests,
Right,
how to do it, how to, when a police officer stop you, what to say, how to say it, and how to react. This is what should be taught to them. And this will stop a lot of this.
right,
Okay, that's the way I feel about it.
right. Okay. Um, Luciel, I
Yes.
want to ask you and get an opinion from you. How do you feel about the protests that are going on?
Okay. I believe that they should protest. I believe that they should not loot. They should not burn. They should not try to kill police officers or throw things at them. Like Victoria said, all police officers are not bad. Okay. But what's happening now, because they know that the city has cut the budget in the police department, so crime now has gone to dramatic change. It used to be less crime. Now people are just taking advantage of the situation. They should protest. I think they got their point across. I think the governor heard them. I think the country heard them. I think the nation and globally is being heard, because a long time ago people were pushing this under the rug. It can't be pushed under the rug anymore. Okay, they are aware that those statues need to come down. They are aware that the Caucasian and Anglo-Saxon people had us in chains and slavery. But what you're not aware of is that in the Constitution of the United States of America, in Gracie Mansion, there's a replica of that behind glass, and it states that the children and the children's children and the children's children's children of those slaves are still indentured slaves some places in New York State. That's why I'm upset with Governor Andrew Cuomo for not signing that bill and making it a legal holiday. There are some people now they have home attendants and people of color, and they treat them worse than they treat a dog. Although some home attendants are not all that way. Okay, just like there's some good seniors and there's some bad seniors. There's some good police officers, there's some bad police officers. I think the demonstration should stop. I think they made their voice known. I think they should stop. I think they should leave Gracie Mansion. It's a disgrace how they treated that area. They had no concern about their health and hygiene. It's a total disgrace to me to be a woman of color and look at how my people, some of them, because they're not my people, because I'm a child of God, and they're not acting godlike, and they need to bring it to a halt. If they need anything from the mayor or from the governor, they should put the pen to the paper and send it out in writing and stop the protest. And it's wonderful that they're teaching their children this. I was an advocate and a protester back in the day in Harlem when I was 9 years old. Okay? But there's a lot of things that's still going on. And then I still see on the news, people send me these things on social media that the police haven't stopped. I'm happy that they're being fired, but more needs to be done. But let's stop the protest, send the kids home, let's clean up the city, okay? And the pen is mightier than the sword. That's all I gotta say.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your input and everything. Now, what I want to do now is find out what's in it for the future. Vicky, what's in it for the future for the seniors in particular? Okay, Luciel, what's in it for the future? Now we know about the bill getting signed, trying to get the bill signed. What else is there?
Okay, now that the city is coming to different stages of being open, I don't know exactly what date that the senior centers are going to be open Okay, I don't know if I'm ever going back to the senior centers, although I'm on the advisory council at
Mhm.
one particular center. But I don't think we can go back in full force. First of all, you're going into a building with other seniors. You don't know if they had or have not the COVID-19. I think that if they're going to be admitted in the center, they should be medically cleared. That's number one. I
Okay.
think everybody should be tested. The reason why I'm not tested or being tested, and the reason why I'm not taking any type of vaccine, because back in the 1900s, I forgot what year, when they gave that polio vaccine, or even when they had the soldiers in Tuskegee, they gave them vaccines and they gave them syphilis. I do not trust this government at all. I trust God. And if God wants this epidemic to stop, it will stop. So as far as the senior centers are concerned, they could continue doing the senior centers virtually as far as I'm concerned. I'm doing workshops now starting in July 8th, every Wednesday. I'm going to give them everything that I gave them while I was at the senior centers. Like I said, I don't know what's going to be. I don't know how our way of living is going to change, just like the churches when they open. I don't know how that's going to change. All I know is that this country got a rude awakening. It took so many deaths, so many people dying for them to realize. Because personally, if they don't get their life back to God, this is just the beginning. Just like the locusts are out there now on the farmlands eating up the crops. And if we don't take the food that the mayor is giving us and don't eat all of it and share it and stock it, and I share my meals with people who don't even have the meals. If we don't come together as a community, because remember, it takes a village to raise a child. If we don't teach our children the right way, they're our future. So you have to teach them, because this world is going to be left to them. And if they can't take care of themselves, how are they going to take care of this country?
Right. Okay. Vicky?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. I want to hear from you. Anything that you can tell me about the future of seniors. I know you've been involved with Tracy Towers and everything, but what other things can you talk about in terms of the future for seniors?
Okay. I understand that they are going to give the seniors a tablet, and all seniors. I know they'll start with the seniors like who is in the centers, but we have seniors that is not in the center. And so I want to get this message to de Blasio, Mayor de Blasio, that when he say every senior, I mean every senior be able to get this tab, because this is going to be the future. And I also would like to have, they would have classes here in Tracy Towers that seniors can, get the classes in the complex, like the buildings where they live. They'll be able to let them know how to go on to get a class and whatnot, since this is going to be the future. I feel that our way of living is going to be a little bit different. You're going to have seniors out there that is not staying home. They're going out with their mask. Then you have the younger generation that's going out there without a mask. So, it's the thing is that you have to try to keep your body in shape. Be aware who you around and whatnot. Because I think with the God Almighty, this will pass. But he's letting you know that he is the one that's in charge, not man. And this is the whole point about it. We have some seniors that are so frightened they won't even come out to go to the pharmacy. They have their medication delivered. So it's a frightening thing. And it's a lot of seniors that been preyed on by people out there in the street. And that's not a good thing. So we need to come to agreement how we can solve this. We need to all get on one note. That's what I'm saying.
What is the bottom line message to share with friends and family when discussing what they should do to prevent catching or spreading COVID-19 to others?
So my bottom line message is that there's no way to ensure zero risk of infection. So that's the bottom line. And I'll just hone in on some of the key messages we've talked about throughout this discussion today. For any activity or outing or thing that you do outside of your home, it's always important to understand that the potential risks and actions that you can take to reduce your risk of getting COVID-19. So in general, think about how many people you will interact with, how long that interaction will be, because remember, interacting with more people for longer periods can raise your risk. Will you be indoors or outdoors? And are you going to be able to keep that 6 feet of distance between you and others? And finally, something I've said a lot throughout this conversation, remember to frequently wash your hands, wear a cloth face covering, keep distance of 6 feet when possible, frequently clean and disinfect surfaces and objects in your home, and always monitor your symptoms. And the last thing I'll share before we turn to audience questions is if you get or feel sick, please stay home.
Okay, thank you very much, Sarah. According to the chat window, I have about 15 minutes to ask 895 questions, so here we go. Can you explain more about COVID-19 elevator courtesy? Should the ventilation in an elevator always be on? Should there only be one person per elevator?
Great question. I appreciate this one. So I go back to the principles we've talked about. How long will you be in the elevator? If you have prolonged and close contact with somebody, if everyone there is wearing a cloth face covering, those are things to take into account before you step onto an elevator, or if making decisions in a building about elevator capacity, it certainly is important to think about all of those things because it is a very confined space.
Okay, there's so many of these, so I'm just going to kind of pick through them. Our state is mandating face coverings all day for teachers and students, and this seems impractical. Is this necessary?
Great question. And I think that one of the most important things I can stress about this is the collaboration, communication, and coordination with local and state public health officials in decision-making related to schools. And so we didn't get into a lot of detail about the school setting in terms of all the different types of strategies or actions that students, teachers, school staff, and principals and others in the school setting can take. But that does include wearing a cloth face covering when feasible. And so I think it's important to think about what makes sense to meet the unique needs of your situation in your school. And if it's not feasible to wear the cloth face covering all day, every day, think about scenarios within the school day where it will be really important where physical distance can't be maintained. There's maybe more crowding with groups of students moving through the school. So those are some of the things that are important to consider in making decisions like that.
Next question. My husband works for a company where an employee and his helper tested positive. Do they report it to the health department? Does he need testing since none of them wear masks or gloves and don't socially distance?
Right, thank you. So the first part of the question related to reporting is certainly decision making at the state and local level and how their reporting systems are structured and what processes they need to go through. So that's something that's more of a local decision. And then the second part of the question was about getting tested, correct, John?
Yep, it says, does he need testing since none of them wear masks or gloves and don't socially distance?
Gotcha. Well, if you look at any area of our website in terms of who should be tested, the most important thing is to consult with a healthcare provider or professional who can assess whether a test is necessary or not.
Okay. Is there any relief in sight for easing the COVID restrictions for people in high risk categories?
Another great question. I love that these viewer questions are coming in because they're so applicable to your daily lives. So that
well, there's hundreds, so we could go on for a really long time.
Stay with you all night, everybody. So that is another scenario where it's really a state and local decision in terms of easing restrictions, or, you know, talking about if it's people in a high risk category, whether it's safer for them to go about some of these daily activities. And that will be informed by your local and state public health officials for sure. And I'm certain some of the things that they're taking into account is, what does the community transmission or spread look like, and how might that impact the decision on lifting restrictions?
You touched on this a little bit before, but this is slightly different. It says, is it safe to go to routine medical visits, or should we wait until the pandemic is over?
I also think that this is very specific to your own individual needs, as well as a couple other things. What the status of COVID is like in your local area. And also, it's important to get routine medical care. And we know that a lot of us, during times of staying at home for prolonged periods, we didn't go to some of those appointments. And so I would say checking in with your medical provider just to ask about the types of actions or strategies that they're implementing to really reduce risk and exposure in their office or clinical setting.
I want to thank both of you ladies for your input into the show. And what we're going to do is we're going to list some of the programs and some of the things that you have talked about at the end of the show and everything. We're going to list your numbers and your phone numbers, and we're going to list some of the information. And I want to thank you very, very much. I enjoyed the conversation with both of you ladies in terms of talking about the different informations and things dealing with the seniors. I enjoyed that quite a bit. I learned something. You taught me a lesson. You taught me a lesson about some of the history that was going on with our African American people and everything. You gave me some information on what they're doing with the seniors. So the thing is, I appreciate it greatly, and I hope to have both of you ladies on my show again and everything.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Okay then.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna take this show. We're gonna take this show and put it on YouTube, and we're gonna put it on some of our social medias. So we're gonna try to get the word out about some of the things that you talked about, and let the general public know what is going on, because you two ladies seem to be on. You seem to know exactly what's going on in Bronx County, okay? And that's something I appreciate dearly, okay? I appreciate that a whole lot.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Okay. Okay, well, I'm going to say goodbye to both of you ladies.
Goodbye. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, okay then. Goodbye, Luciel.
Goodbye, Carolyn.
And goodbye, Vicky. Okay.